Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second to last Google Hangout for this year. This month we have Google Analytics as the focus. And I think we'll go right in. So the first question, thank you, Alexandra. Oops. Having some issues here with technology, as you are probably used to by now. It's saying I'm not broadcasting. One second. Finally, thank you very much, Google. Alexandra asking me if I received her keyword list and the questions regarding Google+. Yes, so this is a message to all of you. I'm really sorry, I'm quite slow in responding to your emails. If it's really urgent, please give me a call or contact me through WhatsApp. You probably get a faster response, even though the Blitz has finished. And this is a call out to all the amazing Blitz team members. We're already missing you. It's been great to have you here, but yes, despite the Blitz having finished already, there's still a lot that we need to follow up on. So if I don't get back to you immediately, please accept my apologies, and I'll try and respond to all of the emails as soon as possible, which might be next year. We'll see. But thank you, I've received the email. So now let's get right to it. As you know, we have Google Analytics as a focus month for this year. I think there's a lot that you can find in data, and it's a really amazing subject, even though it may be a bit geeky to some, but there's so much we can find in there. So on the one hand, I'm a bit sorry that we've selected something that is maybe very pragmatic, but on the other hand, I still want to encourage you to kind of deep dive into your site data and look at all the amazing things that you can find in there, from just something very plain and simple, but still very exciting, is kind of the live data that you get, and you can see how many people are on your site. And sometimes when you're at the end of the month and you want to reach a target, it can be quite exciting to look into that, but also kind of to dig deep into the data, look at what people are searching for on your site, or what the booking path looks like, and if there's anything that you can find in there. I think there's real treasures to be found in your site stats, and I just encourage you to really look into it and also make new connections. Once we have finished the top 10, maybe we'll post another fun article about Google Analytics on Astra. We'll see, and that will kind of give you some further inspiration what else you could do with your data. If you are really interested in what you can do with statistics, I'd encourage you to read Freakonomics. There's, I think, now 3 books out. I haven't read the third one myself, but it kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with data, with correlation, and look into kind of cause and effect in a different way. And I think that's really kind of a good source of that helps you kind of look at data in a different way. But that's just an aside. So let's get into what we actually have to do. So first question from Camille, that's on a very general level of Google Analytics. Hi, Camille, thank you for your question. Is revenue generated really accurate in Google Analytics? That's an excellent question, Camille, and the answer is very simple. No, it is not. We cannot actually pull revenue data into Google Analytics, so we used a workaround that's based on the average average cost, average rate per room, ADR. Sorry, still early here. So yes, we are using that as a workaround, and it's just kind of averaging up and giving you an estimate of the revenue. But please, by all means, do not take this as an accurate measure. The only accurate figure that you can get is through Omniture or in Reflex. But yeah, that's just to give you an indication. And actually, it's not even taking the ADR per se, because as you know, we can only track data that's on site, meaning your IDP. As soon as somebody leaves the site to actually make a booking, they're in the brand.com environment in their booking engine, and we have no control over what happens then. So we know who clicks on the booking widget, and that's about it. After that, it's a black box, and we've just taken some average guesstimates to kind of figure out how how big the revenue could be, but we need some data to be able to better inform our decisions. So that's why we've kind of put in that intermediate figure. Whilst you are probably still busy writing lots of questions, and please do take that opportunity to ask me. As always, I have asked my dear friend Johanna Talbot to come up with some questions in the meantime that we can answer. Here's one that I have received from somebody who I will keep anonymous until that person comments that he wants his name to be known, or she. It didn't copy all of it through, so I'm just going to read the email. So those were actually some really helpful points around the article on Astra being a bit too general, probably at the beginning. So I just want to specify. So that person has pointed out that in the original article, and I've subsequently modified it yesterday. So please, if you have had problems yourself, go and revisit the article. I hope that it's more clear now, but use that opportunity in our forum today to ask for more specifications if you need them. So the question is, one is, we haven't considered that the IDPs have multiple languages. That's a very good point. I've now modified the article to, or made the instructions more specific to say that obviously when you go into the CMS and make the adjustments, and copy out the pages that you have, you should do so by language, starting with the most popular language, which is probably English or your mother tongue. So those two should have priority over all the other languages. And in fact, there is even an argument to say that if you have a language with very little traffic, maybe you should make that your one. You should make your IDP a one-pager for that language, but that's another topic. So first of all, you need one tab per language. Start with your most important language. I will not expect you to send me a list for every language that you have, but if you have your main one or two languages, that's fine by me for the DGI at least. So make one list per language. Then if you go into Google Analytics to get to the traffic, you can actually filter by language as well. You will have to do so by filtering out the language tag. So normally if it's Italian, for example, it would be /IT, or for German /DE, and so forth. So that's how you can filter it. One way to do it would be to go into the behavior tab on Google Analytics and then look at pages, and then you can get a CSV export of all the data for all the pages. And then once you have that CSV, for example, you could filter, you could add in a filter in that file and kind of go by language. Or what you could also do is filter first. You would do that by, again, in pages, getting a list of all pages, and then filter. If you filter /IT in the search bar, then you only get your Italian pages again. So those are just two ways, but please let me know in your comments or questions if you have any other ideas. There's probably a million ways to do it, so please let me know your preferred one, and that will help everybody else. Another point to make that's just more general, I know some of you have commented that you've already gone through that exercise, so obviously in that instance I don't expect you to do it again. That's just double work, but please do let me know if you have already done that, so that I can exempt you. GSA have already done that. Thank you for your list. Greece have also done it, so I know that, so I'm exempting you both, and then the DGI I will mark you as completed. Anybody else who's done it already, please also let me know. Then the next question that was in that email is, what KPI should you actually look at when you look at the traffic, the page views or the sessions? That's a tricky one. There's a case for both. I think page views, so for sessions, you're getting just how many users have been on that, and page views, it could be have been on a page, but it could be multiple. They could have been multiple times on one page. If you go by page views, obviously one person could be tracked multiple times. What we are not seeing in sessions is what we're not seeing is why a person has been on that page multiple times. I think for simplicity's sake, just go with page views for now. However, in another kind of time, once you have done the PLB preparation, you could look into why people go on a page multiple times. Is there something really engaging? Is there information I'm missing? Whatever you choose as your KPI, just make sure it's consistent throughout that exercise. So don't do page views for one and then sessions for another. We're not considering bounce rate in this exercise, as well as the time on site. That's very true. I wanted to keep this very simple. If you need to decide, like if you have 4.99%, then you can take that into consideration. For now, let's just keep it simple and straightforward. So we're not going into too much detail when we look at the site stats. But yeah, again, that's something we should look into. The next point was the guest Wi-Fi redirects are not filtered out of that traffic. That's a very good point. So as you know, for some, if you log into Wi-Fi, the first page that you see, and that was the case for a short while before we are getting the new HSA pages. So I think it's a month or two this might be included, because before it was a brand standard to redirect to brand.com, not to the IDPs. So, but there's 2 or 3 months where you had all the Wi-Fi login traffic kind of being directed to your homepage. So what you need to do is first you need to filter out the traffic that comes from the HSIA pages if you want to be really accurate. However, so because it kind of skews the amount of traffic that you have in total, and thereby it also has an impact on the percentage of traffic that goes to other pages. So it's slightly skewed. However, if you take the yearly traffic, it should kind of balance it out. But if you want to be really accurate, you should filter out the Wi-Fi redirect. Don't worry if you don't know how to. One, you can ask me, or B, you can just leave it in. I prefer, obviously, for accuracy's sake, if you filter it out, but if not, then don't worry. Another point is that seasonal or new pages are not, that have only existed for a short time, will get a low percentage. Obviously, that's, I think, in one of my points that I made, and I've specified it further on the type of pages that you can exclude. If it's a page that you need for one reason or another, but it does get little traffic, then obviously you can leave those in for whatever reason that may be. If it's a seasonal page, a campaign landing page, a press page, the legal notice, all of those you can leave in, and I leave it to your discretion. But generally, looking at the kind of threshold percentages of traffic, that should give you an idea of what you need to look at. If there is a really important page that only gets 1% of the traffic, by all means, please keep it. At the end of the day, it's one aspect of why we're doing this is user friendliness, but another is just to reduce your workload when you have to do the page layout builder migration. And then another point that this person made is that the figures are not representative this year because we had 2 kinds of Google Analytics accounts that were measuring traffic. I think, so this is a good point, but actually it gives you an idea of trends, so it should still be okay. So this was one comment. I'm going to mark this question as complete now. If you have any further questions on this, please do let me know. But I hope that my article in Astra is a bit more clear now. A question from Afio. So we are only requested to send you a list of pages that we will keep based on traffic metrics to those pages. No, please send me a list of all your pages that you have in the main 2 languages of your IDP. And then next to it, I want a column of the the traffic, in absolute numbers, as well as percentages. And then next to that, a column with what you have decided to do. And it should be a keep or a not keep. After this session, I can also post on Astra an example of how this could look like in an Excel table. Apologies that I haven't done this before. Sometimes I'm just trying to be very efficient, and also I know that you guys are perfectly capable of doing things like that yourself. But I'm gonna send you a list on Astra as well, just so you know what I meant. Just to answer that question again, I would like a list of all pages so we have a complete overview. Thank you. Here's another question. You may just use both page views and session. So thank you. That's actually in response. Thank you, Rolf. You have now made yourself known. The email that I was reading out before is from Rolf. Here's a comment from him. You may just use both page views and sessions to select which pages you want to look at. They should show a slightly similar development. That's very true, actually. Yes. You can see you get slightly different information out of the two. If you want, you can use both, and you can choose one as the dominant, the more important metric to look at, and then the other one to just help you guide your decision in case you're in doubt. Thank you. Sorry, Alexandra. We've submitted keywords, but they're still not counted in the DGI. Also, please help me with the same question with Google Plus and duplicate pages. Apologies for the DGI. So there's a year-end DGI, which is the one that counts. If you find any discrepancies in the DGI, please do let me know. I'll rectify that issue as soon as possible. And then in the year-end one, which is the important one, I'll try and make sure that everything is accurate. And then Google Plus and duplicate pages, I will get back to you as well. I'm sorry about that. I know that we have a lot of duplicate pages, and I'm trying to get help from our counterparts in North America who actually have an agency helping them with Google Plus. I know it's quite difficult. There's no real contact person from Google. They're making it really awkward to make any changes and so forth. We're trying to address all that, but still it's a kind of learning. So bear with us. Hopefully we'll have this figured out very soon. Please keep sending your questions. In the meantime, I'll pick some of mine. So one thing that you might be wondering is when will these secondary pages actually be migrated? So just as a recap, we're doing this exercise of looking at our page traffic and deciding which ones we want to keep and which ones to delete, to make sure that we only migrate secondary pages that are actually relevant. So I'm looking at this as a kind of housekeeping or spring clean, winter clean kind of exercise. As we are migrating all of our secondary pages to the new responsive page layout builder design, we just want to make sure that we use this opportunity to only migrate pages that are relevant and actually make sense. Over time, we've probably developed a lot of, built out a lot of pages on the IDP that are no longer necessary, or where we deemed those to be really important at some point in time, but now for one reason or the other, they're not as important anymore. Bear in mind that also we have a lot of information on the homepage already that we do not necessarily need to repeat on secondary pages in every instance. I mean, there's always an argument for and against, but I think it's just a good time to revisit that. Also, to let you know, we need to manually migrate all of the existing pages into the new PLB layout. Now, as for timing, Web Canada are still building out the new page layout builder that will then mark the completion of the relaunch or migration of IDP from the old to the new version. They're looking at completing this sometime in December. Hopefully, we don't know exactly, because with the launch of the homepages, there's been a lot of things that they had to kind of add into their workload, which has delayed the release of the new page layout builder. In the meantime, we can make our lives easier and kind of increase the speed of by which we can complete the migration by migrating already to page layout builder, which makes the actual migration easier. That's the case for all the pages that are not on page layout builder just yet. Mainly templated pages like rooms and others. The location, I think some have not migrated yet. So whenever you have a page that you have decided to keep in that list, then you can already transfer the content into a page layout builder page. And then late December, when we have the new page layout builder available, it will look similar as it does now with the two backends. So for every page, you will have an old one, and then you can click a button to, it will be copied over, the page layout builder page will be copied over into the new page layout builder in the new version. And then there will be a button where you can say, I want to keep this new page and delete the old page. So that then sends a message to Web Canada, and the page will be migrated. As this will be only late December, and you probably want to have a fully responsive site that looks as the new homepage, because right now it's a quite clunky experience. You move from one design that looks quite nice and new to an old design. So yeah, in order to speed up that process, if you already migrate the pages, it will be easier come the availability of the new page layout builder. So end of this year, beginning of next year is when this will be available. I have two more questions. So here's a question for Google+. Yeah, I'm really sorry. We don't have any news yet for the questions, for the Google+ issues and not being able to verify each of the North Africa hotels. Bear with me, I'm looking into it, and I hope that I have a solution beginning of next week or end of next week. Okay, another question from Ralph. I've prepared a Google spreadsheet KPI report to pull all necessary data automatically. Am I interested in looking into that? Aim is to get all mandatory data, display and store it. Could also be interesting for other hotels. Ralph, that sounds great. I think you should definitely, is interesting for everybody. If you want to send that to me, we can post it in Astra, and you can leave a comment in the Astra article as well. As soon as you've sent me all the details, I can also create another article and link to that. But please do send that through. We'll post it. And I know you've already sent me some other things where you're, I think, reporting SEO data and other things, which I think is really cool. So we should definitely let everybody know about that. And just letting me know that this was Ralph. Thank you. Another one. Will we get a rework of the overall performance of LPS? Talking about switching from site to site, page load times, connection of site, the whole appearance, and all that shebang. So page load times should increase, same as connection of the site. With the kind of migration of the site has also come a new content distribution system called Akamai, which I think Daniel will be calling out later in the webinar today. That goes out to all on EMI. I'm saying it should increase. At the moment, there's just a lot of things that are impacting our server, the Web Canada server, which is actually decreasing page load time. It shouldn't affect the old CMS, but definitely the new ones. So there's kind of some birthing issues that we have to, or teething issues that have to be ironed out. But once this has been taken care of, actually the new site should be much faster, especially with that new content distribution sites. And there's also an element of caching involved where not all of the content on a page gets reloaded every time that you go on the page, but a lot of it is kind of saved and appears instantly. So hopefully that will be a lot better. How the appearance impacts the performance of the LPS is something that we will have to just wait and see. and that ties in with some other issues we have with the Google Analytics reporting. We have some other data available as well through SiteCat, which will hopefully help us kind of look into how the new design has affected performance. I hope that this answers your question, Ralph. If not, please do send another comment or question through to further specify your question. Thank you. Glad that I could answer your questions. All right. Whilst you keep sending through your questions, I'm just going to briefly answer mine. If you have somewhere to go, obviously feel free to leave this Hangout at any time. It's being recorded, so you can revisit it whenever you need to. Here's a question I think I've already answered. What's the plan for the migration of secondary pages? The new secondary pages will be available at some point later this year, beginning of next year, depending on how many things Web Canada have to fix for the homepage. Until then, I would ask you to, using that plan that you're sending me, already switch any page that's still on a template and take that content into a page layout builder page. That the new page layout builder sites are available, you will have the option to just click a button and say, I'm ready, I want to switch my site to the new layout, by which point it will be migrated over. Probably at some point earlier than that, switching a button, the content will be copied over, so you will have to make sure that everything is still accurate and up to date. And then you will have a new site in a new look and feel, which will be much nicer. Some of you may have noticed, and actually that has been reported to me quite a lot, that there's still issues with the Google Analytics reporting at the moment. And when will that be fixed? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There have been some teething issues as well with the Google Analytics reporting, for example, around mobile data not being tracked correctly at the beginning. We've only figured that out in September. Thank you to the German team who actually made us aware of that. The issue was that so some newer devices have been served the desktop side, so we had mobile traffic, but then others have been served a specific mobile site where we hadn't implemented the Google Analytics tracking. So that hasn't been reported. We've since fixed that issue. At the same time, the plan was always to have reliable data kind of starting next year. This year was always a testing month. Bear in mind, we also have omnichannel data available, so it's not like we're completely without tracking. We have no data. It's just that Google Analytics account, the Google Analytics reporting has not been fully accurate, but we're working on that. If you do see anything suspicious, anything that doesn't add up, or you have any other issues, please do let me know, and we'll try and address it as soon as possible. However, having said that, I think that now we are kind of coming to a point where everything should be tracking accurately, and starting next year, we have really kind of clean data that we can look at and get kind of month-over-month data at least. So Claudia, you've noticed that on your Google Analytics account, you have double accounts for the IDP. Some are named Starwood 1 independent sites, and some are probably whatever name you've given them. So the ones with lots of dashes are the ones that have been created by your Machina. And the ones that have a name that you are used to are the ones that you have created. So for everybody except, and that's a very important exception, but for most of you, you should have the exact same data in both accounts. What Machina have been doing is they're using the new pixel, but they're sending data into your old account. You're reporting the exact same thing, but you have two accounts that are measuring the same. So you can use whichever one you feel more comfortable with. It should be the same data. Now to the very important exception. There are some instances where rather than in the backend using the Google Analytics tag and just copying in the name of your your Analytics account, some people have actually copied in an Analytics tracking pixel into the global header code section. In those instances, we are measuring twice, and so that shouldn't be the case. Please, if if you have a very important reason why you need to keep it in there, and I know, for example, again, in the German team, it's around privacy issues. So you had to modify the tracking slightly. We're working with the agency to address that. But other than that, there should be no reason why you have the analytics tracking code in the header. Please remove it. If there's something you need from it, please do let me know, and we'll try and address it in the actual tags, but not in the header code. This will just, we don't know if any of the tracking is correct, and we don't know what kind of impact that might have. We've seen that the bounce rate has been affected, but it could have other issues as well. So please do not put any code in the header code. Thank you. Will there be an update to the guest communication landing pages and online forms? I don't know. I don't think so. We are focusing on things that have an impact. As you know, we have to revisit how and what we do for next year. So we will try and focus on things that have a big impact and an immediate return. And we'll have to look into whether or not this has enough return on investment to make it something that helps. I know there's been discussions around it, so it might be that we revisit it. If all of you feel this is something that should be done, please do let me know, and we can make this a focus. Personally, I haven't been really involved in that, so yeah, you just have to let us know if it is something that's really important to you. You may wonder what happened to the measurement plan, which we've announced earlier this year and where we got lots of feedback from you. So this is something we are still working on. I've actually just yesterday looked at the latest of that, and it looks quite amazing. We're going to pilot it with a few of you. You don't know yet. You will hear from us very shortly, and you will be asked if you can help with that. But we haven't identified the target people yet either. The plan is to have select few people test the new measurement plan in the way that we have it as a reporting dashboard. Let us know how it works for you, if you have any improvements or things that you want to change, and then give accounts to probably every team. And the issue around that is also that we need to buy licenses for everybody to use. So we need to figure out what the best way is to kind of distribute the reports moving forward. But you should hear from us soon on that, so watch that space. Then on the subject of Google Analytics, what do I have to do in order to get a new account for my site? Something squeaking in the background. What do you have to do? You have been amazing in emailing me and reminding me, and I have been rubbish in replying to your requests. It's what you have to bear in mind. If you need a new account, it's probably about 2 weeks until this is implemented. Not just because I am quite slow and kind of working with your requests, but also because we have to ask the agency to create new accounts, and those accounts, they have to be implemented in the backend of your IDP. So there's a lot of different contact people we need to work on to act. So please do allow enough time if you need an account. So by the time that you order a new IDP, you should probably also start looking into getting your Google Analytics account. I will later today or by the end of this week post a new procedure on Astra of what you have to do. And I would ask everybody, regardless of whether you've already let me know or not, to please follow that procedure and resubmit your request for any new Google Analytics account that you need. Probably it's been very deep in my inbox, so I may have just lost it. So if you have not yet received a new Google Analytics account, please resubmit your request, and you will find the exact procedure by the end of this week on Astra. Here's another question about the 2 accounts. On the new accounts with the Starwood one, blah, blah, I saw their goal settings. Where can I find more info on how goals are set and how they work and measure, etc.? So we've not really used those goals yet. They tie in with the measurement plan that has been kind of brought to you earlier, and that will be rolled out beginning of next end of this year, beginning of next year. The goals that we have are, for example, around you want a certain conversion rate, you want a certain click events, and so forth, that you can set. You can actually set those yourself as well, if you want. And we wanted the Machina to actually set those globally for everybody, so you don't need to worry about it. In the interim or absence of any goals that have been set by Machina, you can put those there yourself. And I believe you can also set yourself an email alert to make sure that you have those alerts or not. You can set goals. On that note, you can actually also set alerts if a certain event happens. For example, your conversion rate goes down, your traffic goes to 0, anything like that. And you can set those to see whether you need to take action or whether something is wrong. That's another thing that we discussed with the agency yesterday and that we will pilot. So again, some of you will hear from me shortly to test that. Shortly in this case being probably another month, because we're testing it internally first. But yeah, there's lots of things that you can do. We will leave this for a later date. You might find some fun stuff for those of you who want to do more in that space on Astra, but it's not something we will do as part of the top 10, because I know everybody's really busy. So we'll leave this as kind of some fun thing on the side. And then last question, and sorry to take so much of your time. So this is really the last question that I have prepared for you. If you have any additional questions, last chance to post them in the Q&A. If not, we will then finish today's Hangout. So as you know, as part of the Blitz, we've also started rolling out independent restaurant sites. Some of you have even done that ahead of time. And some of you will migrate the independent restaurant sites next year. Obviously, you would want to have Google Analytics for that as well. Please bear with us. We are looking into setting the Google Analytics up on a divisional level, like we did for the independent property sites. However, in the absence of that, please create your own just universal tracking through, like, you can create a free account on Google Analytics. Everybody can do it. Set up your own account, and once we have the new account, we will probably just push the new data into the current setup in a similar fashion as we did with IDP. You have the provision in the backend of the independent restaurant sites to set up Google Analytics, as far as you know. If you have any issues, please drop me an email or let me know on WhatsApp. Probably better. Right. If there aren't any further questions, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. So probably nothing. If you have any further questions, obviously you know where to find me. You can give me a call, drop me an email, send me a WhatsApp, Skype, carrier pigeons, smoke signs, any of the above you can try. And I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your time. And please do join us next month. It will be a bit earlier because of the holidays. And I'll announce the details of next month's events on Astra, as always. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.